So you want to write a book, but how do you find the time when you have a full-time job, a family? I get it. I'm a mom, a spouse, an author, I run a writing business. But not only is it possible for you to find the time, it's completely doable without having to overhaul your life or your schedule. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you 5 different options and ideas for finding a daily writing routine that works for you. Let's go. When I wrote my first novel, I was single, living in New York, only responsible for myself. I didn't have to take anyone else into account when I wanted to sit down and write. I didn't even have any pets. I didn't have a turtle or a fish. Since I'd quit my day job at being a lawyer, I tutored at night, and so my schedule during the day was pretty flexible. I was not in a 9-to-5 daily grind, not even close. And this is how I wrote my first novel. But by the time I sold my second novel on proposal, meaning I hadn't written it yet, I was married with a baby and a full-time job I had taken for the health benefits so that I could have a baby. I no longer had the freedom to write when I wanted. The baby needed feeding. There were sleepless nights. I had a few weeks of maternity leave. Some days I barely felt like I found time to shower, so it was really tricky to me to figure out how I was gonna find time to write, but I needed to, and not just because I had a book contract. I had to for my own sanity. I mean, I love writing. It was an identity that I valued a lot, apart from my identity as a mother, and that mattered to me. Still, I knew with this tiny human that I was now responsible for that finding chunks of time to write was gonna be a challenge. I had to adapt. What had worked before, back when I had no responsibilities, no longer worked. And so this is when I learned to get flexible and creative in my writing process. Here are some options that you might not have thought of for yourself when it comes to fitting writing into your life. The first writing strategy that works is to write literally wherever you can. Okay, you may only have a few pockets of 15 to 30 minutes to devote to writing every day, and that's okay. Honestly, you can still get it done. Like I just said, when I sold my second book, I had a newborn at home and I could only write for a couple of hours, a few days a week while my husband or my mom was watching my son. I couldn't write at my house because the baby was there and we lived in a tiny apartment. So I had to leave home and just make the best. So I went to cafes, I would go to a bar, a restaurant, a park bench, just wherever was nearby. And I wrote my entire novel over 2 months in public spaces like these in sessions of about 45 minutes. Liz, a graduate of my writing program, wrote her book in her van while waiting at her kids' sports practices. And another writer I work with, a doctor, wrote her whole novel on the notes app of her phone while running a massive hospital system during a pandemic. These people aren't superhuman, they're just resourceful. So get your writing in when and where you can. Maybe that means taking a notebook with you on your bus commute, or writing in those 2 hours after you've put the kids to bed, but before you go to sleep. The routine that works like crazy is just the one that works. Idea number 2 is to set daily goals. Now, a daily goal may mean something different for all of us. It might be word count, it might be page count, especially if you're writing in a notebook. You know, how many pages do you want to write per day? It might be writing 1 scene per day. I call this the scenes method. But the key is to pick a goal type that makes you feel good, something that doesn't make you want to claw your eyes out. Okay, the next idea is to set specific times for specific tasks. There's more to completing a manuscript than just writing, right? There's planning, there's brainstorming, there's research. Once you have a draft, there's revision, and then more revision. And then stealing away to start the next book that's popped into your head and won't leave you alone. I find that when writers feel overwhelmed, it's often because they're trying to do everything at once, or at least they're trying to do multiple things at once. But this is why they get overwhelmed, and it's not productive. You shouldn't be editing as you're writing or researching while you're writing. You want to set times for specific tasks. Maybe like me, you want to save mornings for writing and do research in the afternoons. Now, I do this because I'm at my best in the morning. Writing is generative and research is consumptive, and I don't need my best brain power. I don't need my brain to be at peak form to do online research. But for writing, I need to be in really good shape. I need to be feeling sharp. Now, don't worry what another writer friend is doing. If they say, oh, I'm all about mixing up research and writing. I like doing them at the same time. Great. I mean, who cares what they do? Find your groove. But my groove and what I'm telling you works really well for me and other writers I've worked with is compartmentalizing these tasks. Idea number 4 is to write in 25-minute bursts. This idea is called the Pomodoro technique. The name was inspired by the kitchen timer that's shaped like a, Pomodoro, like little tomato, Italian for tomato. It's a fun name and it's a highly effective method, so win-win. Here's how it works. You sit down, you write for 25 minutes, and you stop. That's it. Less than half an hour, shorter than a sitcom, less time than it takes for some people to commute to their jobs, less time than it takes brownies to bake. These short bursts work, which is why this technique has become so well known. After the 25 minutes are up, you get up, take a break, or of 5 minutes or 5 hours, doesn't matter. The brownies just finished baking, so there you go eat them. Do something else and then return for another 25-minute writing stint. 2 or 3 sessions like this a few times a week, and you will have a draft completed in a season. I'm not kidding. A full draft in just a few months, you can write using the Pomodoro technique. This method has actually been shown not only to reduce distractions, but also to improve productivity and the quality and quantity of work. Now for the last idea, which might just be the most important one, write at your best time of the day. Are you a morning person? Are you a night owl? When do you do your best work? You already know the answer to this question. My most creative time is in the mornings, so I make that sacred writing time when I'm actually working on a book. And I recommend doing something similar, saving your best time of day for writing and carving it out then if you can. Now, I know we all have work and life and whatnot, but if mornings are when you're at your best, can you just take 30 minutes somewhere before breakfast or as soon as you sit down at your desk? And I know mornings aren't best for everyone. Another writer I work with told me the other day she's writing her best work at 2 a.m. So she's setting an alarm. And I love that. I love picturing her waking up in the darkness and like finding one lit spot and writing in silence, because that's when she's doing her best writing. If you aren't sure, experiment with different times and see where you feel the best. It's about finding the best fit for you, because what feels the best is the best. If you're still watching, I'm guessing you're writing a book or want to write one. And if so, I have something for you. A few years ago, I created the 4 notebooks method, my process for handwriting a novel across 4 notebooks. The 4 notebooks method is my strategy for mapping out your story structure in a way that doesn't lock you into an outline or suck all the freedom and fun out of the writing process. If you'd like to learn this method and get a free digital template for writing your novel across 4 notebooks, go to the link below this video. To get the template, you just have to apply for my program, the Book Incubator. It's only 2 questions, it takes under 5 minutes, and you'll get the template right away, whether you join or not. There's no pressure to enroll. So just click below, tell me a little bit about you and your book or your book idea. I'm excited to hear from you.